Other people have seen as well that there's opportunity in credit, in private credit. Lots of new funds have been started. Some asset managers have started partnerships. Do you think there's a role in life for everybody, or will there be some consolidation?
Well, you know, in this town, there's one of the world's greatest museums is here, right down the street, right on the corner. There's a handful of great museums around the globe. There's thousands of museums around the globe, but there's 2 or 3 that people think about having the greatest collections. They attract the best curators, they attract the best collections, and I think there's room for a few of us at the top to have the great franchises around the globe. And so there will be many museums, but there's only a couple that really are on the tip of the minds of the greatest in the world. I see a couple of laughs here, but I think that's the way of the world. I mean, the amount of the human capital that we can attract. If you're an investor around the globe right now, and you want to be in credit, you want to be in private credit or private capital, you know, Apollo's going to be part of that conversation. And again, with these 16 platforms, what we did with Credit Suisse and buying their securitized products business, which was really a watershed opportunity to create, you know, massive scaled investment grade risk. The first time a franchise like that was pulled out of a bank with institutional capital. The partnership that we're doing right now with BNP about inventory finance. So the reality is there's a great narrative out there that, you know, we win, the banks lose, the banks win, we lose. That couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is
But you win more often than you lose.
Well, I think the amount of collaboration. You know, I've been in this industry for close to 38 years. This is my 38th year, and the amount of collaboration going on between the largest global banks and places like Apollo has never been greater. And you know, when I think about the 3 or 4 big trends in my career in terms of globalization, technology, deregulation, and lowering rates, I suspect that not all 4 of those are going to be going the right direction in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's much more about, yes, you want to have really interesting idiosyncratic investors in parts of your business, but the big message that people should take away is the textbook that people have used to invest in the financial markets. It's as much now about structure, it's more about scale, it's more about massive front-end origination where you separate origination from underwriting. So I would argue it's a little bit different textbook to succeed over the next decade than the last 25 to 30 years.
I mean, you became so big, more than 400 billion just in credit. You mentioned SPG, you know, these are, I guess, credit card loans. You put them in warehouses. You have a lot of these strategies, you're snapping up these businesses from banks. We had a big liquidity crisis in the US. Are you sometimes worried about, you know, the other side of the balance sheet? Liability?
Well, as big as we are, we're teeny. You know, the largest asset managers around the globe, you know, 10, 12, 14 trillion in assets. Obviously much more ETFs and fixed income, but you know, we still are a tiny share of the global pool, the ocean of private credit around the globe. People have talked about the market being $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion in sponsor direct lending, which we would argue is a great market, but it's one of the 30 or 40 big pools that make up the ocean of private capital. So we're still a small player. I think what you're highlighting is there's still a tremendous amount of asset liability mismatches.
Yes.
The market structure. You know, there's been lots of talk in the last few weeks in the paper, even today, about the size of these markets and how much secondary desks are actually trading in liquidity. And so we're very aware of not offering any daily liquidity products. We think those are certainly challenges that will result in a lot of volatility. But in terms of, you know, capital formation and the role we play, we're still, as if we were to double or triple from here, we're still a very, very small player when in the context of global banks and global funding and finance.